Hey friends, and welcome back to Path of Exile 2 for our Day 3 update video. Now yesterday we got through the last of Act 3, went through the entirety of Cruel Act 1, and a fair amount of the way through Cruel Act 2, and here's where I stand. So, gear-wise, we've got a much better wand than we did yesterday. It doesn't have gem levels, but we are utilizing that damage as extra fire and damage as extra lightning. We've still got our Omen Scepter with our level 10 Malice. We need to find another one of these, but I need one that has a nice amount of spirit on it. We've upgraded a couple pieces of our gear. Right here we have a bunch of life. I need more resistances. I'm struggling to find some good resistances. I've got this prismatic ring, which was a really nice addition to my cold res. We've got this helmet. I need to replace this. I haven't been able to find a good enough replacement for this. I still love this armor. And I'm getting a nice amount of my resistances from runes right now. And then this ring needs to be replaced as soon as I can find something with better res. Once again, need more res. And you guessed it, need more res. The belt we just got is okay. It was an improvement from our last belt, but we still need something better. So that's where we stand right there. Really just looking for res gear and finding gear, and then making it at least magic. If we get some good stuff on those magic rolls, then we can regal it and see what we can do from there. So, on the skills side, we've changed things up a little bit. We're still using Firestorm, we're still using Cast on Minion Death, so we still have Raging Spirits, we still have Cast on Minion Death, but we've added in Cast on Ignite, and we've added in Comet there with Spell Echo. Now, the reason we've done this is I got another random skill shard, and I was like, you know what, let me try something else. Let me get something that hits hard for some single target boosts. Comet really helps. Like, Comet makes a huge difference in this build right now. So because of this and because of how well it has been going, I'm going to change up our plan a little bit. So Cast on Ignite, Comet is a significant amount of our damage right now. And then that's one of the reasons that we switched to a gain damage as extra. So now all of our spells are getting damage as fire and damage as lightning, which means we can kind of go into a tri-elemental build, and we're trying to do that. We still have Flame Wall, we still have Solar Orb. Those are really useful for getting ignites off, and then we're still using Ember Fusillade. We have added Wild Shards, which is a tier 3 support. And it's a lot of fun. And that about covers it for today. We're very close to where we should start getting Cast on Crit, so as soon as we find some Cast on Crit, we're going to be switching a lot of these out for Cast on Crit. We're going to stop using Cast on Minion Death and hopefully start using 2 Cast on Crit setups instead. We'll see how well I can support those when it comes to the spirit cost. Because if I disable, let's see, these 3, I have 186, and I'll need 200 for 2 Cast on Crit setups. So need a little bit of spirit to make that work, and yeah, that'll be the plan. So let's take a look at the skill tree. So we've respec'd the Vitality Siphon, and the reason I did this is at the end of the stream yesterday we went and visited Arrow, who is also playing a Bloodmage, and he asked me if I was noticing any life leech. Apparently he's done some extensive testing and Life Leech just isn't working, and Leech across the game seems to be in a bad state. So I tried to pay attention a little bit to whether or not I was getting Life Leech, and I think they're right. I think Life Leech just isn't working. So I respect this, went to War Spike instead. We should be getting a little more damage, and it means that the next trial we go do, we will be getting Sunder the Flesh, which is awesome. Now as far as the tree goes, we have respec'd quite a bit. We went all the way down here and tried to pick up Blood Magic, but because that doubles the life cost of our spells, that was really hard to do. So we respec'd all of that. I think I'm still going to take all of this away, I'm not sure yet. So this might just be leftover that I need to respec. And then we started going into a generic elemental scaling. So I took away these fire nodes, We still have crit, we still have intelligence, but we took Stormbreaker. So crit, this is generic elemental. And then we took these, Storm Charged and All Natural, for even more generic elemental damage. That increases when we crit and increases when we have elemental ailments. So that is the plan at the moment. Other things that we're planning on doing is right now I'm working on moving over here. So because Life Leech isn't working, I want some way to have a significant amount of recovery. Vitality isn't quite enough for me. So we're going to come down here and grab Devoted Protector for some life regen per second, and mana regen and strength and intelligence. And then we're going to grab these nodes right here. So a fair amount of regen and life recoup. And we're going to grab all of this, and it'll be hopefully really nice. We don't need this over here. Radial Force isn't bad, but I don't know if I want to take it. A lot of these are pretty impactful nodes. Increased effective auras might actually be super nice for us. So auras being buffs to allies within a radius, or debuffs to enemies. This, I think, is only going to apply to Malice. So it'll apply to Malice for sure, because this is an aura. This is not an aura. And this is a persistent buff, so not an aura. The only thing that it applies to is Malice. Probably not worth for us to pick up Bolstering Presence. Possibly worth it for us to pick up Radio Force, but I doubt it. So yeah, that's the plan for today. We're gonna go grab some more life, and then we'll go back to probably more crit and generic elemental damage. Or life recoup, because life recoup is actually super nice to have. So yeah, that is the plan for today. Then we'll be going through the rest of Act 2. Right now we are working through the Halani Gates, and then we'll have to do the Titan after that. I do want to do the Trial and Ascend again, but I think I want to level up more before I do that. So that'll be the plan for then. Until we get there, we'll just be leveling through the campaign. So next up is a couple of clips from bosses that I fought, both the Act 1 boss and the latest Act 2 boss that I fought. And one thing that I wanted to note here is that when you get into Cruel difficulty, it seems like the expectation of your gearing spikes pretty significantly. I found, for reference, in Act 1, when we were fighting the Count, I did the fight in one try. It was a pretty straightforward fight. It made a lot of sense, but I didn't find anything too terribly punishing. And a lot of that, I think, is because I had enough health that it was not a huge deal. However, when I went back and did it in Act 1 Cruel, it was a much more punishing fight, and I think the reason for that is I had almost no cold resistance. I think my cold resistance at the time was 4%, so the abilities that were meant to be reasonably punishing were extra punishing because they were doing way more damage than they needed to. So what I encourage all of you to do if you are stepping from normal into Cruel is spend some time through Act 1 and make sure that you're upgrading your gear with resistances. Resistances are going to make a huge difference in every single one of these upcoming boss fights. Right now my resistances are sitting somewhere around 40% each, and it's starting to feel really, really nice. We want more, of course, but 40% seems to be an okay spot for being sufficiently resistant to that damage. And that'll do it for today's update. Again, I'm going to leave these clips playing if you want to watch. I did notice, I did have one person comment that the Chimera was, I did have one person comment that the Chimera promotion was blocking the top left-hand corner, so you couldn't see the buffs that I was using. So I've removed that, but because I recorded the footage yesterday, that is still there for the boss fights today. So sorry about that. It'll be gone in the future. Thanks for pointing that out. And again, thanks so much for watching. I hope you're having a great time in PoE 2. I am really enjoying it. It's a very different experience, but I am actually loving learning the new systems. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.